Welcome everyone to a very special episode of the Theatre Thoughts podcast. I have three amazing guests joining me today. So first of all, we have an emerging writer who completed her MFA in Writing for Performance at Australia's National Institute of Dramatic Art in 2020. Her graduate play, Never Closer, which we are talking about, was produced as part of Belvoir St Theatre's 2022-25A program, lot of twos. She's currently developing a new musical, Paper Stars, which is a musical retelling of how P.L. Travers wrote Mary Poppins, and I will talk about that. It's Grace Chapple.
Hello,
Welcome.
thank you for having me.
I will talk about that because I was at the showing in Melbourne where you guys did the song.
Yeah,
so
right.
I want to talk about that. Okay, our second guest. We have a graduate from Whopper's acting course who is an actor and producer, I didn't know this, working across a range of theatre, film and TV. Theatre credits include Never Closer, Hamlet for Bell Shakespeare, and On the Beach for Sydney Theatre Company. TV credits include Bump for Stan, Pieces of Her for Netflix, and Friends and Strangers, which was selected in the British Film Institute's top 50 films of 2021. Emma Diaz, thank you so much for jumping on.
My pleasure. It's lovely to be here.
Oh, thank you. And then last but not least, we have the current resident director at Belvoir St Theatre. Her past works include Wayside Bride, Never Closer, The Sorry Mum Project, and Blessed Union. She was the 2020 to 2022 Andrew Cameron Fellow at Belvoir and the 2019 recipient of the ATYP Roseburn Leadership Scholarship. It's Hannah Goodwin.
Hello, thank you for having me.
It's so weird because we went to uni together.
We
It was
did.
like, oh my God, it's my friend.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
We both went to Wollongong University.
Yes,
Yeah.
we go way back.
Way back.
It's so great seeing how you've just flourished,
Thank
to be honest.
you, and vice versa.
Oh, thank you. Because I feel like I went overseas and then I came back and all of a sudden, like, you were just doing all this, like, stuff at Belvoir. And I was like, what's going on here?
I'm
It's
surprised too.
Yeah.
She's
And-
a powerhouse, and you should
She-
hear about her next year.
Oh, my
it only
God.
gets
it's
better.
insane. So I'm so, like, I was over the moon, to be honest.
Thank you, that's very kind.
And then I think the first show I saw of yours was Never Closer.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And honestly, like, it was my favorite show of the season. It just stuck with me, you know, in so many ways. So I'm so glad to have all three of you on to talk about it because it's coming upstairs, it's moving out of the basement, coming upstairs to the main stage at Belvoir for
It
2024.
is. We're so glad. Apparently, that hasn't happened, that process from downstairs to upstairs, in 17 years.
Really? Wow.
So we're super stoked that, like, this is the one that's made the transition again.
Yeah.
And we're all just so excited to get to do it again.
Yes. I can't
Yeah.
wait.
It's so good. And Grace, so you wrote Never Closer.
I did, yes.
Emma, you were in it. And then Hannah, you obviously directed it.
I did.
So we will get to that in a sec, but I'd love to know more about you first, because Emma, I haven't said this to anyone, but I'm a super fan of yours. And I was so excited to have you on. Like when I was messaging Hannah, I wasn't like being very forward. I was like, I really hope that Emma comes. I'd love to talk to her. Because I saw you in Never Close and I was like, she's got it. And then I saw
She
you
does.
in, what was the, I always forget the name of it, and I loved it. And it was Blessed Union, and it just consolidated it. And
Aw.
then me and producer Marty went to see On the Beach, and you were like, you were in that as well, but you weren't in it enough. And I was
I
like, bring
agree.
Emma back.
Yes.
I agree.
Yeah.
I had some really cute comments after On the Beach because I got to play multiple characters in that for the first time in a while. I got to play a variation of people and like have multiple wigs. And people after it were like, oh, that character was so great. I wish she came back. And I was like, but what about this person? Did you see that? And people were like, I didn't even know that was you.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Wow.
I know that
What a
was like
compliment.
a
Yeah.
high compliment.
Yes,
I
yes.
thought
Isn't
like
that great?
she's transformative.
Fully
She
transformative. Excellent. And then Grace, that's right, Paper Stars. So yes, I was at the workshop in Melbourne where you presented Paper Stars, and I remember it stood out to me because one, the song was great, and two, I was like, that's how you make a musical. That's the perfect idea for a musical. So the story of P.L. Travers writing Mary Poppins just makes so much sense.
So I can't actually take credit for the idea of the musical.
That's
It
okay.
wasn't my idea, but I'm so glad that you enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. So did you ever see what was the Peter Pan one? The Johnny Depp was in it. He made the movie
Finding Neverland.
Finding
Yeah, I
Neverland.
love
It's
that
got that
movie.
sort of vibe.
Yeah,
And I was
absolutely.
like, very clever.
Yeah, and I kind of just love writing about writers. Like, I know it's a bit navel-gazing, but I'm just fascinated by like the creative process in that specific way. And she's just like a really weird, interesting character. If anyone has seen that Disney movie, what's it called?
Isn't it Finding Mr.
Saving
Mrs. Banks?
Saving Mr. Banks,
Saving
Finding
Mr.
Neverland,
Banks.
and Saving
Yeah.
Mr. Banks. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the one. Yeah.
yeah, it's about her. So yeah, it's kind of cool.
Cool.
I'm desperate to read it, hear it. I haven't had a chance yet.
Oh, you never know.
We'll send it across.
Well, I'd love to know more about you all. And for those who don't know you guys, I'd love if you could talk about yourselves for a bit and tell us like the best things to know about yourselves
Oh,
for
gosh.
listeners, I suppose. Like, what are the top things to know about you?
Thanks for going first.
I mean, we could talk about each other. Would that be easier?
Oh, yeah, yes.
Oh.
Julia and Eliza did that from Little Eggs. They talked about each other and it was very wholesome.
Yeah. I mean, or we could just talk. I'm happy to talk about myself. I do that sometimes. I'm a director. I trained as an actor first. We went to uni
Yes.
together, Wollongong University. And I started directing because I was lucky to have some friends who started writing plays and they were quite good. And I was going to produce them. And then I had a very dear friend, Mark Rogers, who's also
yeah.
an amazing playwright. He was like, "What are you doing? Why don't you just direct these plays?" And I had never thought of it before, and I did, and I loved it, and I kept doing it.
Yeah.
And now I work at Belvoir.
Because you
That's
worked
me.
with Pippa Ellams on
Yes.
the Sorry Mum project.
Yes, and
Yeah.
before that, that was actually the second play that we did together. The first show we did was a play called The Carousel,
That's right, yeah.
which we developed at Shopfront Arts.
Oh, did you
Co-op.
do that shop front? Oh, I didn't know that.
As part of Arts Lab.
Yeah,
and
right.
that was my first go at directing,
Yeah.
and is still a very, very special show to me. I think about it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, love Pippa.
Nice. She's gem.
She is, yeah,
Yeah.
and very talented.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Emma, what about you?
I am an actor, but I also, like you said, work as a producer. I graduated WAPA acting a while ago, and I think straight out of drama school got a little bit bored with the industry
Yeah,
and kind of just started to try and do indie producing as a way to like keep myself engaged in the industry while like you wait around for an audition. So I didn't really like that process. So went into producing land quite heavily for a little while there.
Yeah.
And I have produced 3 shows in the Downstairs Theatre
Yes.
in 25A.
Yes,
so
I saw that.
that's kind of how I transitioned to working at Belvoir as a producer,
Right, okay.
as well as getting to like, be involved in an acting capacity there. But yeah,
You
what
are-
else
Yeah.
about me?
You're one of the best indie producers in this city, I think.
Whoa, okay.
And so much so that you could have nearly done that full time, right?
Yeah,
You've had
right.
to really hold the line.
Yeah,
to-
Yeah.
I've had to avoid becoming a full-time producer
right,
quite
okay.
intensely.
How great.
And I'm so lucky at the moment at Belvoir. They are so generous with sharing my time
Yeah.
with my acting career, because I also still really love acting and I've managed to do a lot of projects that I really care about. So yeah, it's a fine balance, but I've kind of figured it out at the moment anyway.
Yeah.
What else do you want to know about me?
Oh,
I don't know.
I don't know. What's your favourite colour?
Orange.
Oh, there you go.
That's a great one.
That is wild to me.
Okay.
And Grace, what about yourself?
So I am a playwright mostly. And I actually also started out doing acting.
No
I
way.
don't know if you guys know that. Yeah. But I actually wasn't very good at it. So that's why I started to write, was because I didn't get cast in anything. So I was like, well, I'm going to make my own play then.
Love it. Good.
So I started writing like sort of one act fringe plays and like self-producing, and then fell in love with the writing part. So I started writing very late. Like I never wrote at all before that.
Oh, right. Okay.
That was like 2017.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How cool.
And now here we are.
Moral of
are.
the story is that theatre careers
Yep.
need to be multifaceted.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Gotta
You
do
can go into
multiple
all
things.
categories.
Hybrid
Yeah.
arts workers. There you
Love
go.
it. You are a producer, I can see. Well, I'd love it if I could ask you our theatre thoughts questions to kind of get into your brains a little bit more about
Yeah.
theatre. So, because there's 3 of you, we'll do like a 1 question, then like 1, 1, 1.
Okay.
Okay.
So I don't know. We'll start with Hannah. We'll go down the line. I suppose.
Perfect.
No, go the other
Oh, the
way.
other way. So Grace
I
will
went
go
first
down the
last
line.
time. You go that way.
Okay. Well, here we go. What has been your favourite production you've seen recently?
Yep. Okay. Yeah. A few weeks ago, I saw Is God Is at
yes.
STC. I
Yes.
think that's just closed. I just loved it so much. It was so fun. Like, I actually came out of the theater and turned to the person I came with, and I was like, did you remember that theater could be fun?
Yeah. That was really fun.
Obviously, there's a lot of other stuff, but yeah, I mean, the way that it was like about like really serious issues, but done in like such a very theatrical. It could only be done in the theater, and it was done perfectly, and I loved it.
I'd love to know what you thought of the script from like a playwright's perspective, because the script is insane. Because
Yeah.
it's like scribbles and like sideways and big letters.
Oh,
and...
I've actually never looked at the.
Oh,
like,
you
the
should
play
have
script.
a look at it.
Okay,
It's
great tip.
like it's very much open to interpretation.
Awesome.
So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what you think of it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Right.
Emma.
I was lucky enough to go to Edinburgh Festival for the first time in my life
This year?
recently. Yeah,
Probably
it was
were
my
there at
first
the same time.
We probably were. And so in the last week of it, I got to like cram in a bunch of shows. I saw like crazy bonkers comedy and stand up, but I saw a play called Strategic Love Play
Okay.
by Miriam Batty.
Yeah.
And I loved it because it's such an actor's play. Like
Yeah,
it's just
right.
a two-hander that's like two people meeting, falling in love really quickly, and like also that go at each other for the kind of process of falling in love, or like what it means to have a relationship in the modern world. And so I was like, just my little actor heart
Yeah.
was like, oh my god, someone bring this to Sydney, Hannah.
So good.
I've been desperate to read
And
it. I haven't gotten to
Put
it.
me in it, thank you.
Noted.
What do you think of the festival? Because you said it was your first time.
It was my first time
Yeah.
and I loved it. Edinburgh is so beautiful.
insane.
It's so gorgeous.
Yeah.
Like everywhere it's so well organized.
Mm.
It's just like I loved the cool weather actually.
Yeah,
I'd
yeah.
been in elsewhere in Europe before then and was just like, I'm uncomfortable. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's just so well organized and a beautiful city to like walk around in and just
I
get to see a
forgot how much
million
of a
things.
walking city it is, because I was
Yeah.
there in like 2015, and then this time my apartment I had was on the other side of the city where the castle is. It kind of splits in two. You're either on the castle side or the not the castle side. I should have chose the castle side because I had to walk 20 minutes uphill like to every show. My calves at the end were just like, it was great.
Love it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I had an
Cool.
excellent time.
love that.
I understand why people get addicted to
yeah.
it. I completely get it.
For sure.
I was so jealous of everyone over there.
Yeah.
It felt like everyone was there in
Yeah.
Edinburgh this year. It looked like
It was
such a
nice to
good
go as
time.
just a participant,
Yes.
like
like a
it was nice to
punter.
go as a patron.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
I
right.
didn't have any stakes in
Yeah.
the kind of craziness of it. I just got to go and watch
Yeah.
all of my friends, but also a million people from
Yes.
overseas
Yeah.
do their thing. It was really great.
Yeah.
And Hannah, what about you?
I suppose it's not that recent now, but a show I've been thinking about a lot recently. I got to see Jackie by Declan Ferber-Gillick at MTC earlier in the year, and I
Yeah.
just so loved it. Really excellent detailed performances and a surprising story with really complicated relationships. So that, and then can I have a second?
Of course you can.
It's sort of, I didn't put it as my number one because it's a bit it's a bit nepotism, I guess.
Oh,
But,
okay, yeah.
I just was in Darwin with Regroup. They did their show Coil again.
Oh, yes.
And I went being like, maybe I just like this show because a lot of my friends made it. But I went and watched it again and I was like, no, this is actually an extraordinarily good show.
Yeah.
So
That's
that
what I've heard.
as well.
Everyone
It
who's
is. I love
mentioned
that
it.
show so much. Yeah.
It's so
I need to
impressive.
see it. It's come like so many times, and I just keep missing it, and I need to go and see it.
Yeah, it's an extraordinary show. I sort of went back and forgot how well built it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So proud of them.
Well, what I might do is I'll ask the individual questions, because I was going through them, and I was like, this doesn't mesh, so I'll get one each. So I'll do one and one. So,
Yeah, great.
Grace, I'd love to know if you could see one of your own works produced internationally. Where would you like it to be staged?
Okay. I am a huge fan of London theatre, West End. So I think, one of those big theatres would be just such a dream come true. Like to get to the Royal Court. But then there's so many amazing, like the Bridge Theatre.
That's where Guys and Dolls is at the moment.
Yeah. And I saw a production they did of Midsummer Night's Dream a few years ago as well. They're just so good. Or like the National or any. Yeah. I'll take them all.
Interesting moments. That'd be great. Emma, I'd love to know what your dream role is, or one you've always wanted to tackle. One you've wanted to tackle.
This is a tricky question for me because I have a dream role in TV and film land.
Okay.
I've always wanted to play.
Oh, well, tell us both. Let's go.
Like a very serious badass detective.
Yeah, nice.
Yes.
So that's my one day role for like that.
Like a Broadchurch sort of thing?
Yes.
Yeah? Nice.
Exactly. Like all of the serious crime dramas, like a torn up detective. Sounds so silly. But I'm going to play that one day.
I love it.
But in theatre, I don't know that I have one other than like the obvious answer where we were saying before in school you get brought up thinking of like the great Shakespeare's as the dream role. So I do have in the back of my mind that I always have wanted to play Lady Macbeth.
Yeah, nice.
But most of the works that I get really excited about at the moment are new Australian works. So who knows?
And you're really defining a lot of those as well. Like your face just pops up in all these great shows that are so impactful. So I think what you're doing is right. So keep doing it.
It's very kind.
And Hannah, name a dream show you'd love to direct.
This is really hard too. My boring answer to this question is always something that doesn't exist yet because I love directing new work and preferably whatever Grace writes next.
Yeah.
But recently I've really been wanting to direct Summer and Smoke, which is a Tennessee Williams play.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
How cool. And you've got some great shows next year. Curious
I do.
Incident.
I know.
Oh, mate, when I saw Curious Incident on the list, I was like, yes. And then when I saw you were directing it, I was like, yes. So
I'm very excited. That's a bucket list play as well.
It
sure.
is.
So's The Almighty Sometimes, which I'm doing at MTC. I can't believe that's landed in my lap.
Wow.
It's such a brilliant play as well. Yeah. So good.
It's extraordinarily good. Yeah.
I saw Curious Incident in London and I was just like gobsmacked by it. Like so much so I had to go and read the book. And the book's like incredible as well. So I'm really interested to see what you do with it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
We all are.
The original production looms large. It does. But I think we can do a version.
You need to have a puppy though. Because
really
if anyone who's read the book, if you don't have a puppy, I'm walking out.
Talk to the producers at Belvoir. Emma Diaz, I'm looking at you.
Because it was one of those moments where literally I haven't experienced before where everyone was dead silent. They were so involved. And then for anyone who's read the book, at the end, it brings out a puppy. And I swear to God, the entire audience went, "Aww." It was just so beautiful.
It's such a beautiful moment. It's such a great way to bookmark the end of that play.
Yeah.
Given where you begin with the death of the dog.
Exactly.
So, I think it's great.
How great. Well, the final question is I'd love to know which production you would almost want to see come to Australia.
I would love to see just anything directed by Rebecca Frecknell come to Australia, but especially her streetcar production that was just on at the Almeida.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The one with Paul Mescal?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Or her cabaret.
Not the one in London.
Yes.
I saw that. It is
Did you?
so good.
I'm so jealous.
It's insane. I wish I'd saw it or seen it with Eddie Redmayne in the lead because that would have just been out of this world.
Yeah.
But like, it's fully immersive from the moment you step in. Like I still have the sticker on my phone actually. They cover your phone up so you can't take any videos or photos as soon as you get in. And there's like cabaret dancers in the hall. You get a little shot as you walk in. There's like people on violins. There's people doing like dancing up the top, and then you go into the theater and enjoy the show.
Oh my gosh,
so it's like you're walking into the Kit Kat Club as a whole.
Love
you
that.
know,
I think they had to renovate the venue.
They did,
do it like big production. Yeah, I would love to see that come
bring it
to
here.
Australia.
Oh, yeah, easily. I love that. Great answer, Emma.
Thank you.
I have an answer for this one.
That's okay.
Something great that you saw in Edinburgh.
I think my answer was strategic love play, so
Yeah,
maybe
nice.
that's boring.
Cool.
Say it again. No, it's you can be
Say it
excited
again.
by
Yeah.
that show. Oh, you want to do it though, so you can't. You want to
Like,
do a production.
I would like, the production that I saw that recently at Edinburgh was Strategic Love Play. That I would love for that to come here, but I also want us to do our own version of it. So I'm like, maybe not.
I'll beep it. I'll beep it.
Yeah,
This show.
This show, it was really good.
And Grace?
Just off the top of my head, I've been hearing amazing things about this. Have you heard about the one-man Uncle Vanya that
Yes,
Andrew Scott's
with
been
Andrew
doing?
Scott,
Yeah. My friend went and saw it, and he described like seeing Andrew Scott have sex with himself on stage
No way.
as like an emotional, like impactful moment. Like it wasn't played for laughs.
Incredible.
I know.
I love
Sounds
him.
Oh, he is incredible. I was
Yeah.
saying this to Eliza Scott and Julie Robertson that I saw him play Hamlet, and it was
Oh my
like
God.
revolutionary for my love of that play.
Yeah.
Because I love Hamlet. It's like my all-time favorite Shakespeare. I know, like back to front. And it just changed it like all over for me, you know?
Yeah.
Just in how he spoke it. It was like he was speaking plain English. And I was just
Amazing.
like, incredible. Incredible.
You've
Yeah.
probably seen a few Hamlets as well.
I
by
saw
now.
the National Theatre Live of Benedict Cumberbatch's
Oh, yeah.
one, and I kind of enjoyed Andrew's one. And I was like, I didn't think I'd say that, but there you
Ooh,
go. Yeah,
how
yeah,
exciting.
it was good. All right, well, thank you so much for answering those. That was great. I love talking theatre.
I know.
It's
Fun.
fun.
It's so fun when it catches and everyone gets excited.
Yeah, you're all getting
Getting the buzz.
well, we'll take a quick little break, and then we'll talk about Never Closer.